So now it's time to go over the 12 new cards added to the driver category for expansion pack 1. These 12 cards add a different playstyle to the driver category for any fighter and enable them to have more capability overall than they have in the past. So without further ado, let's move on to the drivers that were recently spoiled on Discord by me, and hopefully you guys will be entertained by them. So the first is the Mammals. These Mammals cover the offense-only side of all the driver cards. And if you haven't noticed, a lot of these new cards coming out in expansions are there specifically in an effort to fill out part of the roster that has not existed in the past regarding the driver cards, finisher cards, or flurry cards. So the offense-only drivers are substantially stronger than the previous counterparts and are in the tiers of almost silver cards whenever you get to them. -4 for 5 offense is a crazy powerful rate, especially on a bronze card worth only 3 damage. But as you can tell, there's no defensive option. There are mirrors of these in 4 of the other cards released in this same exact pack. So again, for $5, you're able to receive all 12 of these cards one time, minimum guaranteed. And what that means is you can build and tailor your deck in a more offensive or defensive strategy. So past that, we have Swift Cheetah, Fierce Rhino, which, brief little tidbit on this, Fierce Rhino is the last of the artworks that I originally created years ago for the driver cards, which is why it looks a little bit different than the remaining 11 cards in the set. And unfortunately, as hard as I tried, I was unable to duplicate this style. I tried for hours and ended up with what I have, and hopefully it will be the one outlier and people will be able to appreciate it for its over 12-year-old artwork that I have kept until this day. But past that, Fierce Rhino is -5 for 6 on offense only, no defensive capability. Sturdy Bear, -6 for 7, which, if you aren't familiar, that is the same rate that you pay for Radiant Dragon, and Radiant Dragon is 7 damage in your deck. However, again, the lack of ability to block with it is part of the problem. But finally, Ancient Mammoth. Ancient Mammoth is -7 for 8 and is 6 damage on your card. -7 for 8 is higher than any other overall driver. Adding 8 power to a card like Pengu turns that one zone into 16 strength, which is pretty ridiculous overall. But aside from that, we move on to the defensive only drivers. We have Hardened Crab, Spiked Lionfish, Stinging Jellyfish, and as well as Grasping Octopus, which some people have been very excited to see in foil. But besides all that, similar to the previous counterparts, these cards are not offensive cards, and they can only be played on the defensive side. I did hear some people say that they were a little confused why these artworks were not flipped. The main reason is that none of the other driver artwork were flipped, even though they were defensive specialty, and I wanted to maintain the look whenever the cards were that way. You will notice with some of the future videos today that some of the artwork did get flipped, but that was more of a aesthetic choice that I made, and it is a little inconsistent, and I apologize, but the artwork is already done, so we'll be moving past that. But finally, we move into the last of the 4 new drivers that are coming out in this set, and these are the birds. So the birds are playable on both sides and offer no overall positive rate on charge to damage. However, they do also do damage to you, but they're playable on both sides and have the same stats on both sides, which is a surprisingly powerful ability for almost any card. So being able to essentially pay 3 life and 3 charge to get +3 on an attack and an extra draw is a very valuable technique overall when it comes to the game. Like in terms of overall gameplay dynamics, this is an extremely powerful play. And I have these options all the way up to platinum. So essentially 4 damage and 4 charge for a card and 4 bonus power. Same for 5 and same for 6 with Bold Thunderbird, Bright Macaw, Shadow Raven, and Burst Hummingbird. But that's going to do it for the overall driver count. And I hope you guys are able to enjoy this video. Please feel free to stop by my booth in TCGCon Denver for their first attempt at getting these cards out in the wild. I can't wait to see you. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.